On a distant planet, far from Earth, there was a strange place called the Tylox Lab. This lab was hidden deep in a dark forest, filled with tall trees and bright, glowing plants. Inside, many creatures were held captive. Among them was a young alien girl named Lara. Lara had soft, colorful skin that shimmered like the stars. Her eyes were big and round, sparkling with curiosity and fear. She had once lived in peace on her home planet, where she ran freely with her friends, played games, and enjoyed the beauty of her world. But everything changed when the bad aliens took her away. The Tylox Lab was a terrible place. Lyra remembered the day she was captured. She had been gathering flowers when suddenly, a group of strange aliens appeared. They were tall and scary, with sharp claws and glowing eyes. They grabbed her and took her away in a dark ship. Lyra had cried and fought, but she was too small and weak against them. Now she spent her days inside the cold lab, locked in a small cage. The bad aliens performed painful experiments on her. They wanted to learn about her powers and how she could glow in the dark. Lyra endured their pain, but deep inside, she remained strong. She refused to give up hope. Every night, she looked out of her cage at the stars through a small window, dreaming of freedom. One day, a loud noise echoed through the lab. Lyra heard shouting and alarms blaring. The bad aliens seemed scared. They ran around, trying to figure out what was happening. Lyra's heart raced. Was this her chance? She looked through the bars of her cage and saw a small group of humans sneaking into the lab. They were dressed in dark uniforms and moved quietly. Among the humans was a soldier named Jack. He was brave and determined, with a strong build and kind eyes. Jack had heard stories about the experiments happening at the Tylox Lab. He could not ignore the cries of the innocent beings trapped inside. He and his team had come to rescue them. As Jack moved closer to Lyra's cage, he saw her trembling inside. Her big eyes looked at him with fear and hope. Jack felt a rush of emotions. He wanted to help her. He quickly approached the cage and knelt down. "I'm here to save you," he whispered softly, so the other aliens wouldn't hear. "I promise, you're going to be okay." Lyra could hardly believe what she was hearing. A human was here to rescue her. She felt a spark of hope ignite in her heart. She nodded slowly, feeling the tears well up in her eyes. Jack pulled out a small device from his pocket. He pressed a button, and the cage door clicked open. Lyra felt a rush of freedom wash over her. "Come on, we have to go," Jack urged gently, reaching out his hand. Lyra hesitated for a moment, but she knew she had to trust him. She took his hand and stepped out of the cage. The moment she was free, she felt lighter, as if a heavy weight had been lifted from her shoulders. Suddenly, loud footsteps echoed behind them. The bad aliens were coming. "We need to hurry," Jack said, pulling Lyra along. They ran through the dark hallways of the lab, dodging guards and hiding behind machines. Lyra felt the rush of adrenaline. For the first time in a long while, she felt alive. As they turned a corner, they found a window leading outside. The bright light of the outside world blinded them for a moment. Jack pushed the window open, and they climbed out onto the soft grass. Lyra could hardly believe she was outside, feeling the sun on her skin for the first time in ages. But their escape was not over yet. The bad aliens had spotted them and were shouting angrily. Jack quickly scanned the area and spotted a small ship nearby. "That's our way out," he shouted. They dashed toward the ship, hearts pounding in their chests. Lyra looked back and saw the aliens running after them. Fear gripped her heart, but Jack squeezed her hand. "Don't look back. Focus on the ship," he yelled. Lyra nodded, forcing herself to stay strong. They reached the ship just in time. Jack opened the door and pushed Lyra inside before jumping in himself. As the door shut, the bad aliens were almost upon them. Jack quickly activated the controls, and the ship roared to life. They shot up into the sky, leaving the Tylox Lab and the terrifying forest behind. Lyra looked out of the window as they soared higher and higher. The stars twinkled brightly against the deep black of space. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but this time they were tears of joy. She was free. She turned to Jack, who was focused on flying the ship. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice filled with gratitude. Jack smiled back at her. "You're safe now. We're going to find a place where you can be happy again." Lyra's heart swelled with hope. She had found a friend in this brave human, and together they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. The rescue. Jack and Lyra soared through the starry sky in their small ship. The stars twinkled brightly around them, but Lyra felt a mix of joy and fear. She was finally free, but she knew the bad aliens would not give up easily. They would come looking for her, and Jack would be in danger too. "Where are we going?" Lyra asked, her voice trembling a little. Jack looked at her with a reassuring smile. "We need to find a safe place, somewhere we can hide for now. I know of a small base where other humans are waiting. They will help us." Lyra nodded, feeling grateful for Jack's courage. She watched as he skillfully navigated the ship through the stars. The engines hummed softly, and she felt a sense of peace wash over her. She was free, and she was with someone who cared. After flying for a while, they spotted a small blue planet in the distance. "There it is," Jack exclaimed, pointing at the planet. "That's our destination." As they approached the planet, Lyra saw green forests and bright blue oceans. It looked beautiful and peaceful. Jack guided the ship down toward a hidden area near the coast, away from prying eyes. When they landed, Lyra felt her heart race with excitement and fear. Jack opened the door, and they stepped out onto the soft sand. The air was fresh, filled with the smell of the ocean. Lyra took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the sun on her skin. It felt good to be outside, but she knew they had to move quickly. "Let's go," Jack said, scanning the area. "We need to reach the base before the aliens find us." They began walking toward the edge of the forest, sticking to the shadows to avoid being seen. As they walked, Lyra listened to the sounds of the forest. Birds chirped happily, and the leaves rustled gently in the breeze. She felt safe, but she couldn't shake the feeling that danger was still near. Jack kept glancing back, making sure no one was following them. After walking for a while, they reached a hidden entrance in the forest. It was a small door built into a rocky hillside. Jack pushed it open, revealing a dark tunnel. "This will lead us to the base," he said. "Stay close to me." Lyra nodded and followed Jack into the tunnel. The air was cool and damp, and the walls were rough. They walked carefully, the only sound being their footsteps echoing in the darkness. Lyra felt a shiver run down her spine. She was still scared, but she trusted Jack. After what felt like hours, they reached a large underground room filled with humans. The room was busy with activity. People were talking, working on machines, and looking at screens. Lyra felt overwhelmed, but also excited. She had never seen so many humans before. "Jack," a woman called out, running toward them. She had short brown hair and kind eyes. "You made it. We were worried about you." "I'm fine, Sarah," Jack replied, smiling. "But I brought someone with me." He turned to Lyra and introduced her. "This is Lyra." She was held captive in the Psylocke's lab. The humans around them stopped what they were doing and looked at Lyra with curiosity and concern. "Welcome, Lyra," Sarah said gently. "You're safe now. We're here to help you." Lyra felt a warm feeling in her heart. She had never felt so welcome before. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. As the humans began to take care of Lyra, Jack spoke with Sarah about their next steps. "We need to gather more information about the bad aliens and their plans. They will come looking for her," he said, his voice serious. Sarah nodded. "We've been tracking the Psylocke's lab. We need to stay one step ahead. If they find out Lyra is here, they will stop at nothing to take her back." Lyra listened closely, her heart pounding. She knew the aliens would not give up easily. She looked at Jack, feeling a mixture of fear and gratitude. "What will happen now?" she asked. Jack knelt down to her level and smiled. "We will protect you, Lyra. You are safe with us. But we need your help too. If you remember anything about the lab or the aliens, it could help us." Lyra thought hard, remembering the dark days in the lab. "They always talked about a special project," she said slowly. "They wanted to use my powers to control other beings. I heard them mention something called the Source." Jack and Sarah exchanged worried glances. "The Source," Sarah repeated. "That could be dangerous. If they can use your powers to control others, they could become unstoppable." "I didn't understand it fully," Lyra admitted, "but I know they were planning something big." "Then we need to find out more," Jack said, determination in his voice. "We must stop them before it's too late." The humans sprang into action, gathering information and planning their next move. Lyra felt a surge of hope as she watched them work. She was no longer alone. She had friends who cared for her and wanted to help. As the day turned to night, Lyra knew they had a long fight ahead of them. But for the first time in a long while, she felt brave. With Jack and the other humans by her side, she believed they could face anything together. Healing wounds. Lyra sat in the underground base, feeling a mix of emotions. She was safe now, surrounded by humans who cared for her, but she couldn't shake the fear that still gripped her heart. Memories of the Psylocke lab haunted her. The painful experiments, the cold cages, and the cruel aliens felt like shadows that followed her everywhere. Jack noticed Lyra's sadness. He sat down beside her and offered a kind smile. "Hey, how are you feeling?" he asked gently. Lyra shrugged, looking down at her hands. "I don't know. I feel safe, but I can't forget what happened to me." Jack nodded, understanding her pain. "It's okay to feel that way. You've been through a lot. Healing takes time." He paused, searching for the right words. "Do you want to talk about it?" Lyra took a deep breath. "Sometimes I remember the worst moments. I can still hear the aliens laughing while they hurt me. I don't want to feel like this anymore." Jack placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You're not there anymore. You're here with us, and we'll do everything we can to keep you safe. You have friends now who want to help you heal." Lyra looked into Jack's eyes and saw sincerity. She nodded slowly. "Thank you, Jack. It means a lot to me." Over the next few days, Lyra tried to adjust to her new life. The humans at the base worked hard to keep her safe, but Lyra struggled with her memories. Every night, she would wake up from nightmares, drenched in sweat, feeling the weight of her past. One day Sarah, the kind woman from the base, approached Lyra with a warm smile. "How about we take a break and go for a walk?" she suggested. "Fresh air will do you good." Lyra hesitated but then agreed. The idea of being outside filled her with a small spark of hope. They stepped out into the sunlight, and Lyra felt the warmth on her skin. The sounds of the forest surrounded them, birds chirping, leaves rustling, and the distant sound of waves crashing against the shore. "Look at how beautiful everything is," Sarah said, pointing to the vibrant flowers and tall trees. "This is a safe place. You can enjoy it." As they walked, Lyra began to relax. She noticed the colors of the flowers, the bright blue sky, and the gentle breeze that brushed against her skin. For a moment, she forgot about her fears. "Can I ask you something?" Lyra said, turning to Sarah. "Of course. What's on your mind?" Sarah replied, her eyes warm and inviting. "Do you think I'll ever feel normal again?" Lyra asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Sarah stopped and looked at Lyra with kindness. "Healing isn't a straight path, Lyra. It takes time and support. You've already taken the first step by trusting us. You're not alone in this. We'll be with you every step of the way." Lyra felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. "Thank you, Sarah. I want to be brave like you and Jack." "You already are brave," Sarah replied. "It takes courage to face your fears and start over. You've come so far." After their walk, Lyra returned to the base, feeling a little lighter. She started to engage with the other humans, sharing stories about her home planet and her dreams. They listened with interest, asking questions and showing genuine care. As days turned into weeks, Lyra began to heal. She still had nightmares, but they became less frequent. Jack and Sarah encouraged her to talk about her feelings. They helped her find ways to cope. Sometimes, they would practice breathing exercises together or talk about their hopes for the future. One evening, while sitting outside under the stars, Jack turned to Lyra. "What do you want to do when you feel ready?" he asked. "What are your dreams?" Lyra thought carefully. "I want to help others who are suffering like I did. I want to show them that there is hope." Jack smiled, proud of her strength. "That's a beautiful dream. You have the power to make a difference, Lyra." Encouraged by Jack's words, Lyra began to take small steps toward her goal. She started volunteering at the base, helping with simple tasks like organizing supplies and welcoming new arrivals. She found joy in helping others and sharing her story. One day, while working, Lyra met another alien who had just escaped from the Psylocke's lab. Her name was Tali, and she had similar experiences. Lyra felt an instant connection with her. They talked for hours, sharing their fears and dreams. Tali spoke about her love for music, and Lyra discovered that she loved to sing. "Maybe we can create something together," Tali suggested. "We can share our stories through music." Lyra's heart filled with excitement. "I would love that," she exclaimed. They began to practice together, singing songs of hope and healing. Their voices blended beautifully, creating melodies that echoed through the forest. As they sang, Lyra felt the weight of her past slowly lift. She was no longer just a captive. She was a survivor and a friend. The music brought them joy, and it helped Lyra connect with her feelings. One night, as they performed for the other humans at the base, Lyra felt a sense of belonging. She saw smiles on their faces, heard their laughter, and realized she was part of something bigger. With Jack and Sarah by her side, and her new friend Tali, Lyra discovered the strength to face her past. She learned that healing was a journey, and she was not alone. Together, they would face whatever challenges came their way, united by hope, friendship, and the music that filled their hearts. The gift. Lyra sat in the quiet corner of the base, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She had spent many days healing and making new friends, but today was different. Today, she wanted to share something very special with everyone, especially Jack and Sarah. In the days that followed her arrival at the base, Lyra had started to trust the humans more. She had shared her experiences, her fears, and even her dreams. But there was one secret she had kept hidden deep inside her heart. It was a gift she had brought with her from the Psylocke's lab, something she had held onto even in the darkest moments. Lyra stood up and walked over to where Jack and Sarah were talking. "Can I show you something?" she asked, her voice shaking a little. "Of course, Lyra," Jack replied, his eyes full of encouragement. "What is it?" Lyra took a deep breath, gathering her courage. "It's something from my home. It's very special to me." She led them to a small room filled with soft light. In the center was a table covered with a colorful cloth. Lyra had placed her glowing object there, carefully hiding it until now. Jack and Sarah exchanged curious glances. "What is it?" Sarah asked, leaning in closer. Lyra reached for the object. It was a small crystal, shaped like a star and glowing with bright colors that changed as she moved it. "This is the Star of Hope," she explained, holding it up for them to see. "It was a gift from my mother. She said it holds special powers and can bring light even in the darkest times." Jack's eyes widened in awe. "It's beautiful, Lyra," he said, mesmerized by its glow. "What kind of powers does it have?" "I don't know all of its secrets," Lyra admitted, "but I can feel its warmth when I hold it. It reminds me that there is always hope, even when things are tough." Sarah reached out to touch the crystal gently. "It's incredible. We could use this to help others," she said, her voice filled with excitement. "If it has powers, Maybe it can protect us from the bad aliens. Lyra felt a spark of hope ignite within her. I want to share it with everyone, she said eagerly. I want them to feel the hope that I feel when I hold it. Jack smiled at her. That's a wonderful idea. Let's gather everyone and see what the Star of Hope can do. They quickly called the others from the base, and soon a small crowd gathered around Lyra. Everyone looked curious and eager to see what she had to share. Lyra felt her heart race with a mix of excitement and fear. She wanted to show them something special. Thank you all for coming, Lyra said, her voice shaking slightly. I want to share my gift with you. She held up the glowing crystal, and the crowd gasped in amazement. As she held the Star of Hope, a warm light filled the room. The colors of the crystal danced and shimmered, casting beautiful patterns on the walls. Everyone stared in wonder, feeling the magic of the moment. I believe this star can help us find our strength, Lyra continued. It reminds us that we are not alone. Together, we can face any challenge. Jack stepped forward, his eyes shining with admiration. You have shown us your strength, Lyra. This gift represents the courage you have inside you. We will use it to unite us all. Sarah nodded, her voice full of emotion. Let's take a moment to feel the warmth of the Star of Hope. Close your eyes and think about what you wish for, what you hope to achieve together. The room fell silent as everyone closed their eyes. Lyra felt the energy of the star pulsing in her hands. She could sense the hopes and dreams of those around her. Dreams of freedom, friendship, and a brighter future. As the moments passed, Lyra whispered a wish of her own. I hope we can protect each other and find peace. She opened her eyes, and the star's glow seemed to brighten even more. When everyone opened their eyes, they looked inspired. Jack spoke first, his voice strong. With the Star of Hope, we will stand together against the bad aliens. We will fight for our freedom, and for those who cannot fight for themselves. Lyra felt a surge of confidence. She knew they could face the challenges ahead, united by hope and courage. As the day went on, Lyra and the others began to plan their next steps. They discussed how to use the Star of Hope to protect the base and help others in need. They decided to create a strategy to keep watch for the bad aliens, making sure they were always ready for whatever came their way. Days passed, and the Star of Hope became a symbol of their strength. Lyra felt proud to share her gift with everyone, and she grew closer to her new friends. They practiced their teamwork, sharing skills, and supporting one another. Lyra taught them some of her home planet songs, and they sang together, filling the base with laughter and joy. One evening, while the stars sparkled above, Lyra looked up at the sky and felt a sense of peace. She realized that she had found a new family among the humans. They had helped her heal, and now she was ready to help others. With the Star of Hope in her heart and her friends by her side, Lyra knew they could face the future together. They were not just survivors. They were warriors of hope, ready to stand against the darkness and bring light to the universe. The threat emerges. The days turned into weeks at the base, and Lyra felt stronger every day. With the Star of Hope shining bright, the humans and aliens had grown closer. They shared stories, laughter, and dreams of a better future. But deep down, Lyra knew that danger was still lurking in the shadows. One morning, Jack gathered everyone in the main room. His face was serious, and the atmosphere shifted as everyone turned to listen. We have some important news, he began, his voice steady. We've received reports that the Tylox aliens are searching for Lyra. They want to capture her again. A hush fell over the crowd. Lyra's heart raced with fear. She had hoped they would be safe, but now the threat was real. What will we do? She asked, her voice trembling. Jack looked around at the worried faces. We need to prepare. We can't let them find us. We'll set up patrols and watch for any signs of the aliens. We will protect our home. Sarah stepped forward, determination shining in her eyes. We should also strengthen our defenses. If they come here, we need to be ready to fight back. Lyra listened carefully, her mind racing. She felt scared, but also empowered by the support of her friends. "I can help," she said, her voice gaining strength. "I know things about the Psylocke lab. I can help you understand their plans." Jack nodded, grateful for her courage. "Your knowledge is invaluable, Lara. Let's work together to create a plan." They spent the rest of the day brainstorming and preparing. Lyra shared everything she remembered about the Psylocke lab. She told them about the layout, the guards, and the technology they used. The humans listened intently, taking notes and discussing strategies. As night fell, the atmosphere became tense. They had set up watchtowers around the base and arranged teams to keep an eye on the skies. Lyra felt nervous, but also ready to stand with her friends. She knew they were stronger together. Suddenly, a loud alarm rang through the base. The sound echoed in the air, sending a chill down Lyra's spine. "What's happening?" she shouted, her heart racing. Jack quickly moved to the control panel. "We've detected a ship approaching. It looks like a Psylocke vessel." Lyra's stomach dropped. The aliens had found them. "We have to warn everyone," she yelled. "Everyone to your stations," Jack shouted, his voice cutting through the panic. "Stay calm and follow the plan." Lyra ran to her post, her heart pounding. She could see the dark shape of the Psylocke ship in the distance, moving closer. It was big and menacing, casting a shadow over the forest. The humans prepared for battle, ready to defend their home. Lyra felt a mix of fear and determination. She remembered the Star of Hope and held it tightly in her hands. She would not let the aliens take her again. As the ship descended, the ground shook. The bright lights from the ship illuminated the night sky, making everything look eerie. Lyra could hear the engines roaring, drowning out the sounds of nature. Suddenly, the ship landed, and a door opened. Out came several Psylocke soldiers, their tall, slender bodies moving with purpose. They wore dark armor and carried weapons that glinted menacingly in the light. "Stay strong," Jack shouted to the others. "Remember your training." Lyra felt her breath quicken as the aliens moved closer. They were searching for her, and she knew they would stop at nothing to take her back to the lab. The Psylocke's leader stepped forward, a wicked grin spreading across his face. "We have come for the girl," he called out, his voice cold and commanding. "Hand her over, and we will leave in peace." Lyra's heart raced. She knew she couldn't let them take her. "Never," she shouted, surprising herself with her boldness. The leader raised an eyebrow, amused. "You think you can resist us?" He gestured to his soldiers. "We are stronger than you can imagine." "Maybe, but we have something you don't," Jack replied defiantly. "We have hope, and we will fight for it." With a sudden rush of adrenaline, the humans sprang into action. They moved quickly, using their training to defend their home. Lyra joined them, her fear replaced by determination. She felt the power of the Star of Hope flowing through her. As the battle began, Lyra used her knowledge of the Psylocke's tactics to help her friends. "Watch out for their flanking moves," she shouted, guiding them with her voice. They worked together, dodging blasts and returning fire with their own weapons. In the chaos, Lyra spotted Jack battling a soldier nearby. He was holding his ground, but he was outnumbered. "Jack," she called, rushing to his side. "I'm here. Let's push them back." With the Star of Hope glowing brightly in her hands, Lyra felt a surge of energy. Together, they fought against the aliens, using their teamwork and strategy to outmaneuver them. As the battle raged on, Lyra saw hope in her friends' eyes. They were not giving up. They were standing strong. The humans united to defend their home and protect each other. Finally, after what felt like hours, the Psylocke soldiers began to retreat. They were not prepared for the strength of the humans or the power of the Star of Hope. The leader glared at Lyra, his expression filled with anger and disbelief. "This is not over," he warned, backing away. As the Psylocke ship lifted off, Lyra and the others cheered. They had stood together against the threat and had won this battle. But Lyra knew they had to stay vigilant. The aliens would not give up easily. Exhausted but exhilarated, Lyra looked at her friends, who were celebrating their victory. She felt a strong bond with them, knowing they had faced danger together and had come out stronger. "Thank you for believing in me," Lyra said to Jack and Sarah, her heart filled with gratitude. Jack smiled at her. "You showed us that hope can overcome fear. Together, we can face anything." With renewed strength, Lyra felt ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. They would prepare for the next encounter. But for now, they could celebrate their victory. They had faced the darkness and emerged into the light, united by hope and friendship. The final showdown. The atmosphere was tense at the base after the recent attack. Lyra and her friends worked tirelessly to strengthen their defenses. They knew that the Psylocks would return. It was only a matter of time. The star of hope glowed brightly in Lyra's hands, reminding everyone of the courage they had shown together. Jack gathered everyone again in the main room. "We have to be ready for the Psylocks when they come back," he said, his voice firm. "They won't give up easily. We need a plan." Lyra listened carefully as Jack laid out their strategy. "We will create traps around the perimeter. We need to be smart and catch them off guard." The room buzzed with energy as everyone discussed ideas and volunteered for different tasks. "I can help design the traps," Lyra said, raising her hand. "I know how the Psylocks think. We can use their own tactics against them." Jack smiled, appreciating her bravery. "Great idea, Lyra. Let's work together to make sure they don't see us coming." For the next few days, Lyra, Jack, Sarah, and the others worked hard. They dug holes, set up barriers, and hid their defenses with branches and leaves. They practiced fighting drills and improved their skills, all the while keeping an eye on the sky for any signs of the enemy. As night fell one evening, Lyra stood outside and gazed at the stars. She felt a mix of hope and fear. "What if we fail?" she whispered to herself, but then she remembered the warmth of the star of hope. It reminded her of their strength and the friendships they had built. On the morning of the 5th day since the last attack, a loud alarm blared through the base once again. "They're here," someone shouted, panic rising in the air. Lyra's heart raced as she gathered with her friends. "Stay calm," Jack shouted. "We've prepared for this moment. Remember the plan." As they took their positions, Lyra felt the power of the Star of Hope pulsing in her hands. She could hear the hum of the Psylocks ship approaching. The dark shape descended, casting a shadow over the forest. The aliens stepped out, their armor glinting ominously in the sunlight. Lyra watched as the Psylocks leader emerged, a sneer on his face. "You think you can defeat us? You are weak and foolish," he taunted. "Not anymore," Jack replied boldly. "We've united, and we are ready to fight." As the Psylocks soldiers advanced, Lyra and the humans sprung into action. They activated the traps they had set, causing the ground to shift beneath the aliens' feet. Some soldiers fell into hidden pits, while others stumbled into the barriers. "Now's our chance," Lyra shouted, rallying her friends. They charged forward, fighting with everything they had. Lyra could feel the adrenaline pumping through her veins. This was their moment. The battle raged on, with sounds of blaster fire and shouts echoing through the air. Lyra fought alongside Jack and Sarah, using her knowledge of the Psylocks' tactics to outmaneuver the soldiers. She felt strong and empowered, knowing that they were united in their cause. Suddenly, Lyra spotted the Psylocks leader targeting Jack with his weapon. "Jack, watch out," she screamed, rushing to his side. In that moment, she felt the power of the Star of Hope surge through her. "No," she shouted, raising the crystal high above her head. The Star of Hope radiated a brilliant light, blinding the Psylocks leader for a moment. He stumbled back, surprised by the brightness. Lyra seized the opportunity and pushed Jack out of the way just in time. "Thank you, Lyra," Jack said, his eyes wide with admiration. "You saved me." "Let's finish this," Lyra replied, her voice strong and determined. With renewed energy, they fought back against the Psylocks soldiers. Lyra led the charge, her heart full of courage. She used the Star of Hope to guide her friends, inspiring them to push forward. Together, they outmaneuvered the aliens, working as a team to fend off the attacks. As the battle continued, Lyra felt the tide turning in their favor. The Tylocs were confused and disorganized, unable to handle the humans' unexpected strategy. One by one, the aliens began to retreat. But the Psylocke's leader would not back down so easily. He raised his weapon, preparing to fire at Lyra. "You think you can win?" he shouted, his face twisted with rage. "You will pay for this." Lyra stood her ground, fear melting away as she felt the warmth of the Star of Hope. "No, we will not be afraid of you," she shouted back. "We are stronger together." With a final burst of energy, Lyra focused all her strength on the star. It glowed brighter than ever before, casting a powerful beam of light toward the leader. The light hit him squarely, causing him to stumble back, his weapon falling from his hands. In that moment, the Psylocke soldiers, seeing their leader falter, began to retreat. They turned and ran back to their ship, panic in their eyes. Lyra watched as the aliens fled, knowing they had won. The humans erupted into cheers. They had stood together and faced the darkness, emerging victorious. Lyra felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had fought for their home and had succeeded. As the dust settled, Jack turned to Lyra, pride shining in his eyes. "You were incredible. The Star of Hope truly made a difference." Lyra smiled, feeling a sense of belonging. "We did this together. I couldn't have done it without all of you." As the sun set on the battlefield, casting a warm glow over the forest, Lyra looked up at the sky. She knew they had overcome a great threat, but she also understood that their journey was just beginning. With her friends by her side, and the Star of Hope lighting the way, she felt ready to face whatever came next. Together, they had proven that hope could conquer fear, and they would continue to protect their new home. The fight for freedom had only just begun, and Lyra was ready to be a part of it. New beginnings. The sun rose over the base, casting a warm golden light on everything it touched. Lyra stood outside, breathing in the fresh morning air. After the battle, everything felt different. The air was filled with hope and new beginnings. Jack, Sarah, and the others joined her outside, their faces still filled with excitement from their victory. "We did it," Jack exclaimed, grinning from ear to ear. "We fought back and won." Lyra smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "I never thought I could be part of something so important. Thank you for believing in me." "You showed us how to fight with hope," Sarah said, her eyes sparkling. "We couldn't have done it without you." As they gathered together, Lyra looked at the Star of Hope, which was still glowing softly in her hands. "This star is a symbol of our strength," she said, "but it's also a reminder that we must always stay united." Jack nodded. "We should make a plan for the future. We can't let our guard down. The Psylocke might come back." Over the next few days, the group worked tirelessly to rebuild their defenses and prepare for any future threats. They repaired the damage caused by the battle and fortified their base, ensuring they were ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. Lyra took the lead in teaching the others about Psylocke's tactics. She shared everything she had learned from her time at the lab. The humans listened intently, eager to learn from her experience. They practiced drills and formed strategies, determined to be ready for the next time they faced danger. One evening, as they gathered around a fire, Lyra shared stories from her home planet. She spoke of her family, her friends, and the beauty of her world. The humans listened with fascination, captivated by her tales. "Tell us more about your home," Sarah urged, her eyes wide with curiosity. Lyra smiled. "It's a beautiful place filled with mountains, rivers, and colorful flowers. There are many creatures, some friendly and some not so much. But it's a part of who I am." Jack leaned closer, intrigued. "Do you think we could visit your planet someday?" Lyra's heart skipped a beat at the thought. "I hope so. I want you to see the beauty I grew up with. But first, we need to make sure it's safe for all of us." The group talked late into the night, sharing dreams of the future. They imagined a world where humans and aliens could live together in peace, free from fear. Lyra felt a sense of belonging among her friends, something she had longed for during her time in captivity. As days turned into weeks, the atmosphere at the base shifted. They grew closer as a team, learning from each other and supporting one another. They celebrated small victories, like mastering new skills or successfully completing drills. The laughter and joy returned, filling the base with life. One day, while exploring the forest nearby, Lyra stumbled upon a beautiful clearing. The sunlight filtered through the trees, creating a magical glow. She felt drawn to the spot, a sense of peace washing over her. "Lyra, where are you?" Jack called, his voice echoing through the trees. "I found something amazing." Lyra shouted back, waving her arms to signal him. When Jack and the others arrived, they gasped at the sight of the clearing. "It's beautiful," Sarah exclaimed, her eyes shining. "We should make this our special place." Lyra nodded, feeling a connection to the spot. "We can use it to relax and enjoy our time together. It will remind us of our victories and the hope we carry." From that day on, the clearing became their sanctuary. They would gather there to celebrate, share stories, and plan for the future. It was a place of peace amidst the chaos of their lives. As time passed, the base transformed into a vibrant community. They welcomed new friends from different planets, all seeking safety and friendship. Lyra became a bridge between worlds, helping the humans understand the cultures of the new arrivals. With each passing day, the Star of Hope served as a beacon for everyone. It reminded them of their strength and resilience, shining brightly in their hearts. One day, Lyra held a gathering in the clearing. "We've faced many challenges together," she began, looking around at her friends. "But we have also created something beautiful. We are a family, no matter where we come from." The crowd cheered, their voices echoing through the trees. "Together, we are stronger." Jack stepped forward, a smile on his face. "Let's keep building our community. We can teach each other, learn from one another, and create a better future for all of us." Lyra felt a surge of happiness as she watched her friends rally together. They were determined to make a difference, not just for themselves, but for others as well. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Lyra took a moment to reflect on her journey. She had come so far from the frightened girl captured by the Tylocs. Now she was a warrior of hope, standing alongside her friends. With the Star of Hope glowing brightly, she knew that new beginnings were possible. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. They would stand united, driven by hope and friendship, ready to create a future filled with light. As the stars twinkled above, Lyra smiled, feeling grateful for the love and support of her new family. They had built something incredible together, and she was excited for all the adventures yet to come.